Hi there, and welcome back to Ask the Chiropractor, your source for chiropractic and natural healthcare information. I'm Dr. Adam Rodnick, and great to be with you all. I'm out of Commerce, Michigan. I'm here with our guest again, Dr. Kevin Laucher out of Lansing.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Good to have you here, definitely.
Thanks.
So I got a question for you. So what would you say in general, in your years and years of practice, that you see patients come in looking for?
Well, fascinating question, Adam, Dr. Adam. This question, early on in practice, I would have guessed that they want relief from their healthcare problem. It's gotten to the point now where more and more, the longer I've been in practice, is people are looking for hope. They're looking for hope in a sea of information that's out there that they've been told nobody can help them. And chiropractic is a fantastic avenue to offer people hope of getting well.
And we see people, I've seen other chiropractors put on ads and say, you haven't tried everything until you've tried chiropractic, right?
Absolutely.
So they definitely come in looking for hope. Now we have a video clip we'd like to show everybody here.
Well, this is a clip that I ran across, and a lot of times there's some billboards out there that now are showing this older gentleman pushing, he's not a young boy anymore, a man with cerebral palsy, and it's called Team Hoyt. And the history behind this miraculous father-son team is the son was born with cerebral palsy. This was in the late 60s, early 70s. And the father and the mother were told to institutionalize at that point the son. And the father would not, the father and the mother discussed it, and they would have nothing of it. They wanted to raise him like they did their other boys. And you'll see throughout the clip him playing hockey with his brothers, just the miraculous dedication of hope that this father has. You'll see mostly the father and the son interacting, but the story kind of fast forwards to where he's in high school. The computer technology for him to talk is available, and he has a classmate who was in a bad car accident, and through this, his classmates organize a run to benefit this classmate. Well, I guess you could call them our heroes. The son hero of the story says, I got to help this classmate, even though he's got cerebral palsy himself. He wants to participate in this run. Well, the father's like, well, my son is going to grow up just like any other child, decides he's going to take him out on this run. Well, he's way overweight. He starts to take off on this run to train for this, and he realizes he can't do it. So you kind of go through and see them doing, I believe the billboard says some 65 marathons they've done together. They've done the Hawaii Ironman. Just the miraculous dedication of this message of hope that we're going to talk about today. So
we could roll that clip. I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy it.
When it's love you give, I'll be a man of good faith. When love you live, I'll make a stand, I won't break. I'll be the rock you can build on. Be there when you rose to have and to hold. When there's love inside,
Hoyts' motto is simply, you can. And they've made so many believe anything is possible.
He's competing in road races, competing in triathlons.
Now all of a sudden all of these videos are popping up on us, and people are emailing them around the world, and it's just a great feeling.
I read them an email they recently received, one of thousands, from a perfect stranger.
I write this because I'm a father, and to my shame, I have been nothing like you, Dick. I have been selfish more than I've been selfless. I'm not raising my son the way I had intended to raise him, and up to this point, you could say I have failed. But yesterday, in a moment's time, I was changed. My heart was broken when I saw how much you must love your son to put yourself through such agony that he might experience the thrill of the race. Yesterday, it became less about me and more about being my children's father. I thank you, sir. You hear this over and over again.
Yes, yes.
It clearly is, it touches you every time.
It really does. Yeah.
You're more than a father. I mean, you are a hero to so many. And most importantly, you're a hero to Rick.
I just think of myself, and I just love my family. And I just want to be the very best father I can be.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah, oh man. It tears me up every time I see it. It's phenomenal.
The perseverance, the hope that they instill to thousands of people through this.
That's the attitude you need to get well, and that's the attitude that's talked about in chiropractic offices, the idea of getting well, not focusing on that sickness that you have or that symptom you brought in, but let's get right to the point of getting you well.
And that's one of the reasons why we educate the patient, why we do television shows, why we do our orientations in our office, to get the information out there so people can have the hope to get well rather than just thinking that they want to feel better.
Absolutely. That avenue of riding that roller coaster of addressing symptoms whenever they pop up and not taking care of your health. A lot of times we take better care of our car, better care of other things, maintaining it, but we don't look at what can we do to not only get well, but also take care of ourselves.
And we see a lot of people come in, their first impression, of course, that they want hope, but we had seen in the past people come in because they have some sort of ache or pain and they want to feel better, right? Now, as much as a human being, we want everyone to not have their aches and pains and feel better, but as a chiropractor, our mission, our goal is to keep pressure off the nervous system so that the body can function free and clear of interference and at its 100% God-given potential, not so that their little nagging ache will go away. But, you know, don't get us wrong either. If we take pressure off the nervous system, of course, people will start to feel better as we go along. But not only feel better, but their body will function properly. They'll be able to think more clearly. They'll be breathing better. They'll be at their optimal potential compared to where they were at.
We see it every day. I can name just a couple of testimonials that I had this week. I had a gentleman who come in very active. He's a sports coach for women's athletics in the Lansing area where I practice. Very active, runs 3 miles a day. He just all of a sudden one day experiencing excruciating mid-back pain right around the shoulder blades down throughout the traps. And within just a couple visits, I mean, he's virtually pain-free. And sometimes it almost works too good. We don't have enough time to teach people, you know, why that happened, what they can do to take care of themselves, because it may not be a mid-back problem the next time. It could be your heart.
And they think they're cured, right? People come in, they think they had one adjustment, and here they were, they couldn't move. This was a miracle cure, and here they are, they're fixed. But meanwhile, some of the time, the subluxation complex, the interference has been there for years and years. We should say that the last thing to show up is the symptom. That's the warning sign. And the first thing to go away is, again, the symptom.
Right. And, you know, you hit it right on the head. You talk about the symptom, and really, what is a symptom? Simply, it's a signal or an indicator that something's wrong in the body. There's some 400-odd symptoms. We group them all together, categorize them, get a diagnosis. But really, it's just a signal or an indicator. And if you really keep it simple, you have symptoms in your everyday life, and you wouldn't dare address them the same way we do our body. Now, medically, what are the two modes of treatment that they do for symptoms?
That's drugs and surgery.
Drugs and surgery. So anybody I ask, what do drugs do to symptoms? Cover them up, right? Used to be, even 20, 30 years ago, there was less than 20 drugs on the market. And even in television today, and we won't get too much into this, but even 30 years ago, I always like talking to my older patients, because what did Marcus Welby, when he come out of surgery, he would talk about, it's out of our hands now, meaning they know that it is this higher power, this intelligence that's actually going to heal the person. But that's kind of a side note. But getting back to symptoms, when we talk about the drugs and the surgery, the drugs cover the symptom up. And surgery has cut the bad part out. And just the rationale of working better without all your parts doesn't make sense, if it can be avoided. I mean, obviously there's some rare circumstances where it can't be, but I would definitely want to try everything, including chiropractic, before I would go to that drastic measure.
Get the knife. So they took these 400 some odd symptoms and they put them together, they categorized them in lists, and take these 5 symptoms that we'll now call this disease. Take one thing out of that list, put another thing back into that list, and it's now another disease. And there's thousands of different combinations here that are diseases, but every one of those symptoms is our body's natural response to some sort of stress, to some sort of method of cleansing the body, or a warning sign that there's some problem going on in the body that needs to be addressed. For instance, if you put your hand on a burner, what's the first thing that's going to happen? It's going to burn. A message is going to be sent from your hand to your brain telling it that there's a problem there, and it's going to send your brain sending a message back down to your hand with an immediate instinct, a reflex to take the hand off the burner. Now, if we had taken something to numb that hand so we don't have that symptom, obviously what's going to happen to the hand? It's going to burn, it's going to sear, it's not going to be good for the body.
It's not going to be pretty.
Right, exactly. So these symptoms, they're all there for a reason. And I like to say to people that health is not how we're feeling, it's how we're healing. It's how our body's functioning.
That's great. But back up a little bit, and you take that diagnosis that you're given. You're already sick, not functioning right. We know that. That's a given. Now you're given this detrimental name to this condition, and now you're told, here's a drug that you can pay a lot of money for and take the rest of your life, or we're going to snatch that piece of body from you, and now you're going to take this drug to supplement for that piece that you're missing. And that's a message of hope. I mean, obviously, you know, and once again, I'm not one to, medical doctors do some great things, they just don't know what they're doing with health. And chiropractic is on the cutting edge and leading that charge to teach people about health and how to experience this thing we call life.
I don't want to put the wrong impression out there either. We have nothing against the doctors, the nurses. These people want nothing more than to care for people, to serve people. The way that our system is set right now, we're not a health or wellness care system. It's a emergency, crisis, sick, or disease care system. And it's been like that for a long time now. Even just a couple hundred years ago, we were doing bloodletting. Instead of drugs and surgery, it was problems in the blood, let the evil spirits out, or cut and let the blood out. And we thought that everything was in the blood, right? And now there was a set of twins, Siamese twins, and I forget when they were, this was either in the early 30s, somewhere in there,
yeah.
Named Masha and Dasha. I'm sure you're familiar with the case. And because of these twins, we were able to do some amazing research here and saw that the problem wasn't in the blood, because these two Siamese twins were interjoined, they were connected, and they shared a bloodstream. They shared almost all their organs. They shared I believe their kidneys, they shared a liver, they only had one heart between the two of them, but what they didn't share was their nervous system. They each had a separate brain, and they each had a separate nervous system that came down.
Yeah, one smoked and the other one didn't too. I
Yeah.
just found that interesting.
And
yeah, one would get sick and the other one wouldn't.
Exactly.
Right?
One of them
with the
would,
same bloodstream.
Same bloodstream. So
Yeah.
the same germs, the same bacteria, the same viruses was in the bloodstream. And one of these women, or I know they were connected, but one of them would get sick and one of them wouldn't. One of them would always be getting chronic infections, chronic illnesses, and the other one was what we would say is healthy. And then eventually, the one that was always getting sick started to develop cancer, and that's how inevitably they both died, because they shared the heart, they shared the bloodstream. But the one side, she developed the cancer, she developed all the sickness, she developed all the disease, and the other one didn't. And what do you have to say about that?
Incredible example. I'm sure if we had time, we should probably go back and retell that whole story, because people are probably just, in our society, we haven't been taught these things of how we're constantly bombarded with pharmaceutical ads. Over 70–80% of our advertising is pharmaceutical related. So we're constantly told to wait until you have a symptom. We've got a pill that'll fix you. And I always use the analogy, we've been given this, the greatest human biological suit. If you look at this as a suit, and how well you take care of the suit is how long you get to live in here. And so the idea of not addressing something when it goes bad, that'd be like, well, I'll think about checking out my roof when there's a rainstorm. You know, you would never do that.
And we hear that all the time. I hear those big tough guys, they come in and, well, don't fix it if it ain't broke. They say, well, I feel fine. Meanwhile, they do have warning signs already telling us we can take an x-ray, we look at their spine, there's obvious damage, interference to the nervous system, and they don't want to do anything because they ain't broke. Right?
Absolutely. And that's the unfortunate thing is we have to get this message out there to get people to understand these concepts of where health comes from.
And so what we learned from the twins, from Masha and Dasha, is that it came from the nervous system. We know how important the nervous system is, where one of them had a healthy functioning nervous system. It was the only thing that was different between them. And the one was able to keep a strong immune system because it was a free, clear, interference-less nervous system, where the other one wasn't. And so the immune system started to shut down. And so how important would you say the nervous system is?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's a direct link of the nervous system, every system in your body. It's the master controller. If you look at physiology that all doctors study out of, the nervous system is well known as the master system. You even go back to the development of us in womb, is the nervous system was the first system that was formed. It was in the form of the primitive streak, and from the primitive streak grew nerve buds, and at the end of the nerve buds, it took that group of cells and formed your heart, it formed your stomach, it formed your lungs. So the computer system was there controlling and directing everything. It's still there controlling and directing the replacement of your cells, which are happening. They're saying 98% of you is brand new every year, so you're actually reborn. So when we look at this nervous system, it's so much more than just the 9% of pain fiber that you may be feeling or not feeling. It's actually involved with your cells replacing themselves in a healthy way.
Right, 90% of our body is functional nerves. It's things that we don't feel, and it's all being controlled, again, by the nervous system to control the exchange and the replacement of the cells. We have trillions and trillions, 70-some-odd trillion cells in the body that are constantly being replaced. And what happens is when these are replacing normally, everything is good, life is good. When it's not, then we're taking good, healthy cells and we're replacing them because of a bad signal, because the communication is not there with bad, abnormal, or unhealthy cells. When the signal to replace this good, healthy kidney cell is just wrong enough where now it's replacing it with a liver cell, that's what cancer is. That's what malignancy, that's what sickness and disease is. We're taking good cells and replacing them with bad cells.
Yeah. And really, it's so simple, it's almost silly. You can look at any diagnosis or condition as the body either speeding up or the body slowing it down. And what's going to direct the speed or the tone of the body is the nervous system. So that's why it's so important and why chiropractic is so focused on that particular part of your health.
Now, even normally, everyone that's watching the show right now, even yourself and myself here, normally about 2,000 cancerous or unhealthy cells are in the body every day. And what the immune system does is fights them, finds them, gets rid of those cells. When our immune system isn't functioning free and clear of interference, it can't get rid of those cells as easily or properly. And so they start to build up, if 1 a day, 10 a day, however many excess cells out of that 2,000 our immune system couldn't get rid of, it builds up. And that's why they say that something like cancer or heart disease is a silent killer, because they don't know about it until it's too late. Somebody could be feeling great, have a great quality of life, be exercising, eating well, and they're drug-free, but they have cancer going in their body, so they're not healthy.
Right. They say science is proving that a tumor as small as a dot on a piece of paper, excuse me, would, how long do you think something like that would take to form? It's 7 to 11 years. That always blows people away when I tell them that.
Years and
so
years,
with
right?
no symptoms. And we know that pretty much across the board, the worst killers are ones that are silent. So addressing your health based on symptoms and how you feel is really a long run, a Russian roulette. It's just a way of avoiding your opportunity to have this hope and have this ability for your body to work correctly and enjoy the suit, right?
Right. And subluxation, I would say, is the same thing. Subluxation, interference with the nervous system, what we deal with as chiropractors, just like the heart disease or the cancer, is a silent killer. Because in general, you can't feel, eventually sometimes we get the warning signs, but you can't feel your bones moved out of place, interfering with the signal from the nervous system. When we say a subluxation in the upper cervical spine, I've seen a chart, and I use this in my office. It shows a subluxated atlas, the top bone in the spine, interference with the brainstem area of the nervous system, and right next to it, somebody hanging from a noose. So both shut down life from the neck. One just takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, Christopher Reeves, prime example of talking about those same two bones. When Christopher Reeves fell off the horse, landed on his head, he broke the dens on C2, which went right into the brainstem. He couldn't walk anymore, even though he didn't injure his legs. He couldn't digest food on his own. He had to have medication and things for that. He couldn't move his arms. He couldn't even sweat. So you look at the function of the nervous system and you name anything in the body, and I'll tell you that there is a nerve system control to that. So back that up and equate that to any symptom. Any symptom in the body is going to trace back to a part of the body and its function, or malfunction in that case. And there's got to be a nerve system component to that symptom or that sickness. And that's all chiropractic is removing that nerve system component, allowing that nerve energy to flow from the brain down out to the body, and rebuild those cells correctly so the person can heal.
So you're saying a chiropractor is not just a backache doctor?
Yeah, that amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll give you a testimonial of a couple girls that sisters. The one was 3, one was 4. Both had asthma. Now, I didn't touch their lungs. I didn't evaluate their lungs. I didn't treat them for asthma. I evaluated them, those top 2 bones in the neck, and started adjusting that area when there was nerve interference present. Now, with kids age 3 and 4, there's not always nerve interference every visit. So I adjusted them when it was clinically necessary to do so. But over a period of about 3 months, prior to care, they had been in the hospital, the combined, over 100 times. They were continuously going to a respiratory doctor. I knew they had asthma, but it really wasn't even I won't say not a concern of mine, but my job was to remove the interference. It wasn't until the mom told me that they hadn't been to their asthma doctor in 6 months and they hadn't been in the hospital that it proved this theory of that chiropractic works. Without even listening to their lungs or anything, they're getting better.
The problem wasn't in the lung. The problem was in the signal from the brain, the healing power through the nervous system. And that's what we do as a chiropractor. It has nothing to do with a backache or a neck ache. We're checking the nervous system for interference and removing any interference from the nervous system. That's what it is in a nutshell. And we've seen hundreds and hundreds of testimonials. One that I've seen recently is both male and female. I've seen this exact same testimonial within the last few weeks. Male erectile dysfunction. Gentleman has had this for years and years. We started taking pressure off the nervous system, the nerves that control the reproductive system, and just like that, within just a few visits, back in action. Right? And can't even believe how much someone will thank you for that. And vice versa with the women, females that have had, and just had one fairly recently, infrequent menses, infrequent period cycles where only every couple months or just very infrequent. And once they start getting adjusted, it starts to regulate the cycle, starts to get onto a normal cycle, a normal schedule. It really makes a major change because it's neurological. It has nothing to do with the organs or the ovaries or the gonads or any of these organs, but as we remove interference, the body can heal normally. We move the bones, and the power that made the body heals the body.
Absolutely. I mean, you know this body's intelligent. I mean, when you take two half cells, all of us started as two half cells, a sperm and an egg, and we came together, and we're going from erectile dysfunction to sperms and eggs here. But,
Right.
so you got two half cells, and they come together, and they form a full cell, and then they divide. One becomes two become 4, 8, 16, to where now we're some 450 quadrillion. I don't know who counted them, but 450 quadrillion cells that are all working together to allow us to even be here and do this show. And yet you ask, can the body cure itself of an appendicitis, or can it cure itself of erectile dysfunction? You know, when it started from just two cells and basically created itself, it can certainly recreate itself, and that recreation can be healthy.
And some people have more faith in a spoonful of medicine than the power that animates and binds our body in the living world. So that's the point we really want to get across. And do you have any final thought as we wrap it up here?
Well, I just challenge people to look for that message of hope, to try and find where that message of hope is. Chiropractic is a great avenue to experience that feeling of hope and wellness and health, but to look for hope in their life.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
And remember, God gave us the gift of life, and what we do with that gift is our gift back to God. We'll see you next time on Ask the Chiropractor.